Persona 5 Strikers is a pretty huge departure from the traditional Persona formula as it seeks to combine the series with the popular Dynasty Warriors franchise. The result is a game that feels both familiar and foreign to Persona fans and Dynasty Warriors fans alike. And to help make your progress through this game go as smoothly as possible, I'm going to be giving you my top tips based on the over 100 hours that I put into the game. Before we get into the video though, I would just like to remind you that I do stream most days over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RosalindGaming, so if you have any questions about this video, Persona 5 Strikers, or any other game that I cover, you can always hit me up over there or on my Discord server, both of which are linked in the video description. So with that shameless plug out of the way, let's go over my top tips for Persona 5 Strikers. To start things off, I want to give a few tips with regards to SP management, as managing your SP, especially in the early stages of the game, is very important. For starters, you can leave jails and re-enter them at any time that you have access to a checkpoint. This is super inefficient and the enemies will respawn, but it will be necessary early on. One thing you can do to help conserve SP though is to make use of combos outside of battle to heal up after a fight. The earliest opportunity to do this is with Pixie by using a square-square triangle-triangle combo. Doing so will cause Pixie to cast Dia on Joker. The amount this heals is drastically reduced when compared to if you were to cast it from the menu, but it is also free. And as you progress through the game, be sure to be on the lookout for other Persona such as Principality who can do the same thing as well. Another super useful way to restore SP is through the use of the ability Soul Stealer. This is a passive ability that will drain SP from enemies that are afflicted with a status ailment when you attack them. Ann's Persona learns this at level 10, and Joker can get access to it as early as level 5 with Jack-o'-lantern. Once you get to the second city, you'll be able to start buying items that can restore SP, albeit only about 5 SP per item. However, you can only buy 3 at a time. In order to buy more, you'll want to enter the jail and defeat a few packs of enemies, and then leave the jail in order to reset the shop. Once you get further into the game, you can use this method to stock up on ingredients for cooking as well. One of the prime culprits that'll drain your SP early on is dealing with enemy shields that appear below the enemy health bars. An effective method for dealing with them that doesn't use SP is to use Joker's charge shot on his gun. Just be careful though, as this does consume ammo, so you can't solely rely on it in a prolonged fight. The ban system in Persona 5 Strikers is its replacement for the social elements that the series has become known for, and you will gain banned experience, and subsequently banned points, for doing pretty much everything in the game. Some of the perks that you can acquire with banned points are quite good, while others not so much. Further Ties is one of the banned perks you should invest in as early as possible, as it increases the amount of banned experience that you gain in general. After that, you can pretty much pick them up as you see fit, with one exception. That one exception is Support Recovery. This banned perk seems like it would be fantastic, as it says it restores HP and SP to all party members after battle. The unfortunate reality though is that this perk is a complete waste of points. It costs a very high number of points to learn, 15 for just the first level, and the amount that it actually restores is insultingly low, at a whopping 6 whole HP and SP at max rank. Seriously, don't take this, just don't do it. This tip really only applies to Joker, but when fighting enemies, they will telegraph any special attack that they do via a chat box that pops up over their character model. You can use this to your advantage to quickly bring up Joker's Persona menu with R1, and then switch to a Persona that is either strong against or even immune to the damage type of the enemy's attack. When fighting random enemies, this is admittedly quite tedious, but against stronger enemies and bosses, it can save your life. Staying along the same lines as with tip 8, you can actually use the telegraphed attacks from enemies in order to interrupt their abilities. To do this, you will need to hit their weak spot or deal critical strike damage to them in order to break one of their shields, but doing so will cancel out the attack. You can see your active character showtime gauge in the lower left hand corner of the screen, so it's easy to know when it's filled up and ready to be used. But it's also possible to see when a party member's showtime is ready without actually having to switch to them by looking at the little flame that's been added to their character portrait when it's ready. As you play through the game, you may find yourself gravitating towards 1 or 2 characters who you really like to control. That's all well and good, but do be sure to at least use everyone a little bit so they can learn their master arts. Master arts are very powerful and they can only be learned while you are controlling the character. Oh, and even if you switch to other characters long enough for them to learn their master arts, I would recommend learning how to play at least 3 characters in total. Just, throwing it out there. Hint hint, wink wink. If you choose to regularly play as someone else other than Joker, be sure to keep note of which persona that Joker has equipped when you switch off of him. This is because Joker won't switch persona when controlled by the AI, and he will use whatever he last had equipped. The last tip that I have for battles is actually more of a gearing tip, but that is to make sure that you are keeping up with Futaba's armor and accessories. As with Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, you don't actually get to control Futaba, however, there are defense battles in which you must protect her from infinitely spawning hordes of enemies, and if she dies, it's game over. Ideally, you won't let anything get close enough to her to hit her, but keeping her equipment up to date can help out in the off chance that you let an enemy get too close. Finally, I'd like to end with a few more generalized tips, starting with the game cities. In Persona 5 Strikers, there isn't much that is missable since you can go back to previously completed jails at any time, and most of your shopping and requests are picked up from inside the RV. That being said, any items, recipes, or requests that are tied to a specific city in the game become unavailable as soon as you leave them, so just make sure that you're doing everything you want before you move on after each city's story arc. The next tip is with regards to Persona skills, and will probably be a feature that longtime fans of the series will hope make it into later entries. At any time, you can change out what skills your party members' persona have by going to their persona in the menu, hitting the square button to highlight their skills, and then hitting circle in order to change that skill with another one. This can be used to change to any skill that that persona has already learned previously through leveling up. Oh, and this can also be done with Joker's persona as well, but you will want to be careful when doing that, as only skills that have been learned by that persona through leveling up can be swapped out. If you happen to get rid of a skill that you learned via a skill card, or that you passed down through fusion, then it'll be gone for good. And for the last tip, I wanted to mention something with regards to party member experience. Unlike in Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, where it was possible for characters not in your active party to receive some experience, in Persona 5 Strikers this is not the case. So just be sure to be actively switching your characters in and out to make sure that no one falls too far behind in levels. And that'll do it for my top tips for Persona 5 Strikers. If you found this video helpful and informative, please be sure to leave a like as it really does help out. Also, I will have plenty more Strikers content coming out, so if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when new videos are released. Until next time, take care.